Hello, my wonderful class. I'm going to read to you aloud this history of the Cherokee people that you also have a copy of. So it's titled Southeast Cherokee Nation, A Brief History. About 4,000 years ago, the Cherokee people left the southwest region of what would become the United States in search of a home. They settled for a while around the Great Lakes region, but they were not welcomed. The Iroquois were not happy to see them. The Iroquois forcibly pushed the Cherokee from their land. The Cherokee moved on. They wandered finally into North Carolina, where they discovered a land full of forests, mountain, rivers, streams, and fertile valleys. Wildlife was plentiful. They settled down happily. Life continued for thousands of years. Next section is called Expansion. As their own village populations grew, and as they conquered other tribes in the area, the Cherokee Nation grew. At one time, it covered 8 states, including all or portions of the present-day states of Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Kentucky, Alabama, Virginia, and West Virginia. First white men. It was not until the 1600s that the Cherokee met the first white man in their region. White traders found it easy to trade with the Cherokee. As long as you wished them no harm, the Cherokee were peaceful, even helpful. The Cherokee traded deerskins for cloth, hammers, tools, and guns. Trail of Tears. There were many wars and problems in the intervening years, but it was not until 1830 that, once again, the Cherokee were forcibly pushed from their land, this time by the United States government. The Cherokee were given a new place to live, a reservation located in the southwest, an area they had left 4,000 years earlier. The Cherokee were forced to walk all the way to Oklahoma. Many people died on the walk, which is why this move is called the Trail of Tears. Written language. About 200 years ago, the Cherokee developed a written language of their own. They wrote everything down, all their legends and stories and customs, so they could more easily teach their children the old ways. Today, the Cherokee live in the modern world. There are over 260,000 Cherokees in the United States. Most live in Oklahoma. Some still live in the southeastern region of the United States. They still follow some of their old customs, and they still teach their children their old ways. The children do not always listen, as they did once, but most are as fascinated by their heritage as we are. Food, clothing, and adornment. Agriculture. The Cherokee were farmers, hunters, and gatherers. They grew corn, squash, and beans, along with pumpkin, melons, sunflowers, tobacco, and other crops. Corn was the most important food. The women made sure they planted enough crops to provide food for 2 years. Hunting and fishing. The Cherokee were wonderful hunters. Legend says they could hit a fly from 30 feet away. They did not hunt for sport. The men only hunted what they needed to feed their families. Every part of the animal was used. The most important animal for their needs was the deer. They hunted turtles for food and used turtle shells for rattles. Tools. They made blowguns, bows and arrows, animal traps, nets to catch fish, and spears. Clothing. Women wore deerskin tops, skirts, and moccasins. Men wore deerskin loincloths in the summer and added leggings and shirts and robes in the winter, all made of deerskin. Tattoos and body paint. Men commonly decorated their bodies and faces with tattoos or paint. Jewelry, beads. They made jewelry of shells and silver. Women made painted clay beads. Arts and crafts. We're on page 3 now. Arts and crafts. The Cherokee were and are still famous for their art. In olden days, their talent was used in making clay pots, carved pipes, canoes, masks, rattles, clothing, baskets, and beads. Canoes. Canoes were carved from wood. The men first cut a log. They hollowed out the log by burning coals from the fire. They scraped the insides with sharp stones. Canoes were decorated with designs made with burnt sticks and sharp stones. Clay pots. The Cherokee dug clay. They used the clay to make handmade pots. While the clay was still wet, they decorated the pots with designs made with sticks and stones. Then pots were baked in the fire to give them strength. They used clay pots as cooking utensils, liquid holders, and planters. Planters were placed near their homes and filled with flowers, spices, and food items. No tribe used a potter's wheel. Everything was shaped by hand. Carved pipes. The Cherokee carved pipes from clay, wood, and soapstone. Pipes used in religion ceremonies and peace ceremonies were carefully decorated. They also made pipes for everyday use. They smoked tobacco in their pipes. Masks and rattles. In olden days, only the men made masks. Cherokee men carved ferocious masks from wood. I mean, scary. They painted them. Sometimes they added fur decorations. Warriors used these scary masks to make fun of their enemies. Before a battle, the warriors would dance around wearing scary masks and laugh and laugh. This type of mask was called a booger mask. Like boogeyman, not the stuff in your nose. They made rattles to scare away evil spirits, and at the time, to invite the attention of good spirits. Rattles were made with turtle shells filled with corn kernels. Some rattles were made from gourds and squashes. And last page, double wall baskets. In olden days, only the women made baskets. Baskets had fancy designs and were made in a special way with double weaving, using river cane so that they were very sturdy. Designs were handed down from mother to daughter. Some baskets were painted as well as dyed. The Cherokee created paints from berry juice, nuts, and roots. Although their baskets added color and gaiety to the appearance of their homes, they were also useful. Baskets were used for just about everything: to gather the crops, to store food, to store belongings, and to haul. River cane items. The Cherokee used river cane for weaving split-dyed gathering baskets, but they also used river cane for making blowguns, shields, masks, and painted flutes. They were and still are famous for the many beautiful and useful items they made with river cane. So that's a lot of information. Have an adult read it with you. Pick out 3 facts that you think are interesting. And we are going to write an introduction sentence, which is introducing what we're writing about. And then a page for fact number 1, fact number 2, fact number 3, and then a conclusion that sort of sums up everything that you wrote down. about the Cherokee. All right, you're learning so much. See you next time.